Are you tired of seeing people on YouTube work 25 hours a day and getting a superhuman amount of things done while you haven't even left your couch? We are glamorizing productivity so much to the point that we can never actually be productive enough. The solution? Redefine productivity. Instead of trying to use specific productivity hacks, I just use this one thing all the time. Hey, hope you're doing well today. I also hope that by the end of this video, you'll have a better and happier perspective on what productivity is to you. Funny enough, I have been called uber productive, and some people even comment, oh, you're just built different. That's how you get so many things done. But the thing is, I even think that there's a toxic side of productivity, and I'm not like go, go, go all the time. But the key is to just make the most of our time, whatever that means to us. And with that mindset, it seems like I am super productive all the time. So let's just start into what I think is not productive. I think we can all agree that some of the classic unproductive things are binging TV, not moving your body. You're likely, just getting sucked into another world, scrolling endlessly on TikTok and on a screen. Basically, it's like you're not living in your real world. Similar to TikTok, social media is not productive if you're on it all the time. In fact, that has negative consequences of decreasing your focus, and you feel FOMO. You're caught up in someone else's world and not focusing on living yours and using your time, which is what's more important. You're giving other people attention when you're the one who needs attention. It's an escape from your reality and a rabbit hole that you can just keep going down into. A mindset is to just remember that you're the single most important person in your life. Just treat yourself like that. Video games and things like watching YouTube, in a general sense, and how people do those things are unproductive. But you'll see later how those things in another lens and in a different way of doing it can actually be productive. On to the less obvious unproductive things. Productivity, a lot of times as defined by society and that we see on YouTube, is super productive. And what's ironic about that is that it's actually harmful to our time. On one hand, you'll likely burn out, which is actually something that I personally have not experienced, which is really weird, and I'll make a video about that later. Second of all, you're producing, but how much of it is actually valuable? In the end, is it worth not listening to yourself or your body? So I've scoured the internet a little bit. There are lots of videos talking about productivity, and the issue with these is that they say everything is universal, that everyone, no matter your background, your income, your mental state, that you can just do all these things and suddenly be more productive. And yeah, some of them are helpful, but these are some things that I just never do, and a lot of people preach. Creating aesthetic notes or an aesthetic planner. I can tell you that nothing I write is cute or colorful. Personally, I don't find that making something pretty will make me more productive. I'm more about function, and just by having a lot of those tips thrown around and being very specific, a bunch of people, and probably like a lot of young people, just like eat right up, and it's not actually that effective. Also, outsource everything. You hear like, oh, if you don't want to do that, like think about your time value, outsource it. But like, how many things can really be outsourced? I don't have the means to, outsource more tedious tasks. I would like to outsource my work if I could. That's another thing. People say that, oh, after work, just do a side hustle. It's all about side hustle cultures now. But if you have a full-time job, like how can you really do that? And by not having a side hustle, does that mean that you're not being productive? I think that if we're lucky enough, we can think of ways to make our lives more efficient, possibly by outsourcing, but possibly just cutting down. The Pomodoro method. A lot of people talk about this as the #1 study technique, but as much as people preach how amazing it is and just like, oh, this is the hack that you have to know to be a straight A+ student, I have never used it once. I have a Pomodoro timer that I bookmarked, actually, like I can see it right here on my computer screen, but I've never clicked it. Just found that it was something I never had to resort to. By thinking something is universal and helpful that way, it's not effective because we just need to find what works for us. It's really great to absorb the amount of information on the internet telling you how to be productive, but the key is to really take charge of what makes you productive in your own way, and then using those as inspiration. And finally, making your bed. People say you should make your bed first thing in the morning to feel productive and just have a great start to the day, but I actually never make my bed. You don't need to adhere to universal little habits to do every day. Okay, so let's see what productive can mean and how to redefine it. Watching TV, as mentioned earlier, what if I told you it can be productive? It's in a way such that you're bonding with people. It's not productivity in the sense that you're, producing something literally, but you're still getting something out of it. You're bonding either with your family or friends and living through an experience. A lot of times movies have interesting concepts, especially dystopian ones, which I like, that you can discuss and also spur some interesting thoughts and awareness about, how society works, how our future may be. If you've been really stressed and busy and you finally have some time, you don't want to be the typical productive of taking that free time to, work on a side business, read 5 books. Maybe you just want to watch TV. And if TV is a break from your regular life, and it's not for too long, not binging it per se, then yeah, it's definitely productive because then it gets you recharged. Doing nothing can also be productive. I enjoy sitting outside, looking at the mountains and just literally observing nature and enjoying the time as my own and at peace. And that is productive too because, it opens my mind. It makes me think more. Some of my best ideas are simply when I'm doing nothing. Some people always say,
why can't I have good ideas?
Have you ever tried just sitting there doing nothing and letting your brain run on its own? It's very helpful, I can tell you that. Whenever my parents ask me to go on a walk with them, my immediate answer is yes. I can put down in 5 to 10 minutes whatever societally defined productive thing I was doing to go spend some time with my parents just walking. Our time with family is limited as well. Overall, it's about balance.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Spending time to unwind, to collect my thoughts, appreciate nature, spend quality time with friends and family, those are all things that I will never regret doing. Watching TV for an hour or so to relax is something that you shouldn't regret or feel guilty for because it might help you recharge. I also used to not have a good relationship with productivity. When I was watching a movie with my family, I would feel this pressure, this guilt, this stress of not doing something conventionally productive in that moment. But the key in redefining productivity is to make a mindset switch and to realize that productive means that you're living your best life. And that could be producing in a way for your mind, your body, and your relationships. And remember, I say you, what makes you more recharged or feel productive in your own way. And I give my experiences as examples for what makes me feel more productive. I rarely watch TV. That's because I know that in a few years, I will barely remember what the plot is, but I would regret not having used that time for something that I find more fun and memorable. Productivity is defined by yourself. If your business relies on TikTok trends to get more traffic, then yeah, scrolling and observing for a bit or even more than a bit may be productive. Instead of trying to use specific productivity hacks, I just use this one thing all the time and people think I'm productive, so I guess it's been working well. Just take away one thing from this video to be productive in the way that you want and that will make you happier in anything you're doing. Ask yourself, in 5 years, is what I'm doing right now something I'll regret spending so much time on? Thanks for joining me, and I hope that the minutes you spent watching this video today were productive to you.